for staying with us. Fight for We, fight for West and East. We are talking about the general elections for 2025. I'm your host, Natalie Sealy-Richardson, and we're getting right into it because our time is fast going. Mr. Watson Duke, political leader of the PDP, Progressive Democrat Patriots. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, ma'am.
And not just political leader, but he's also the candidate for Tobago East in this upcoming general elections. Now, Mr. Duke, I think I don't have to start from who you are, where you are from, because if we don't know, and I know many of our viewers, we are quite familiar with you. If you don't know Mr. Duke, you have definitely been under a rock somewhere. So I'm getting straight into it with you, and it's a question I've never had the opportunity to ask, even though I would have interviewed you. PDP, where did the name for this political party stem from? What inspired it?
I think the PDP was God created. I remember it was a Sunday afternoon at the PSA grounds on Piggott Street. We gathered about 100 persons from different villages came, and we came up with the name Progressive Democratic Party. But then in hindsight, we recognized that that's a name for an old organization in Trinidad and Tobago. And so someone said, let's go with Patriots. The symbols were created by the people also too, who gave bamboo and let's put a bullet for 3 hands holding it. So it's very unique, it was very organic, and I think it remains one of the most organically formed political organizations in Trinidad and Tobago.
Mm. Of course, you're not new to politics. We do have some candidates for Tobago East and West who are, people maybe describe them as green, but we definitely cannot describe you as that. What are you bringing for the people of Tobago and, of course, for your electorate, Tobago East?
Well, first of all, let me say I'm bringing the best candidate for Tobago West. That's my biggest prize to Tobago. His name is Mr. Curtis Douglas, and he's the best. Simply put, you can't get better than Curtis Douglas in the West. So with me being prime material in the East, and with Curtis Douglas being the best in the West, we will have a type of synergy that will not see the betrayal taking place again, but rather Tobago's business being placed on a pedestal and being pushed as it has never been pushed in the history of Trinidad and Tobago.
Mm-hmm. And why should the people choose Mr. Watson Duke to be their member of parliament for Tobago East?
I'm simply the best. When Tobago speak about best, they're looking for the person with the best political experience, the best organization skills, the best people skills, the intellectual capacity. You need to have a visionary. You need to have someone that you can believe in. He is the same today, tomorrow, and forevermore the same. He's not fickle. He's like a rock. He's strong. He's firm. You can depend on him. And with these qualities, I think that, and more, I think I'm simply the best. The others don't have that. What they have, it's a charade. It's a front, a facade. They pretend to kick ball. They pretend to work among people, but they are not for people. Most of them would have spent their lives living a reclusive life, away from the people, just mix and mingle with those they have to work with. But there are people outside of my work circle I will sit and have a conversation with.
Right.
And I will try to inspire them. And that represents the heart of politics. You cannot understand politics until you understand and lead people. Most of all, I spent over 12 years in the Public Services Association. That's the largest monthly paid trade union in the entire Caribbean, not just Trinidad, the entire Caribbean.
Right.
These are complex people, different ethnicities, different religious background, different social classes, academic classes, and I've been able to get for them what no one has ever gotten for them before my time. I made the PSA the Black Star Line of the entire trade union movement.
Mm-hmm. And though you have shared and you would have, identified you as the best, when the electorate looks at your track record, even as president of PAC, can they really be comfortable with saying, yes, Mr. Duke is the best choice. Because we know when we talk about Mr. Watson Duke, there's always a story. Whether it's a good story, a bad story, or ugly story, there is a story. Mr. Watson Duke doesn't do things like the others, right? Are you really comfortable in saying, I am not fickle, I'm not going to change, this is who I am the best? Is the evidence out there for your electorate to say, yes, I am comfortable with electing Mr. Duke as my representative?
The evidence is overwhelming, it's overpowering. It's there, and anyone who looks at it will be drawn to the evidence. Remember, even Christ, in the heights of his power, was regarded as the one who's keeping company with sinners. He's drinking wine and he's doing things that are unseemly. That's the test to everyone's character who must become a public figure. You must be tested. But the truth is, whether or not when they accuse you, if you are withdrawn or you are still there and performing without bitterness, I am able to interact with all of my political I'm going to say my political enemies, so to speak, very lightly.
Right.
And I'm cool. If I see Father Augustine, I will shake his hand.
Right.
Even though I know he's a Judas, I will shake his hand and I will smile. I say, how are you going? And we'll exchange greetings. If I see Dr. Rowley, we talk. If I see Kamala Prasad, I greet her, we talk. This is a height of political maturity. Being able to interact with anyone for the common good of your people.
So, Monday, April 28th, the people have voted. Everybody's tuning to results. And the news is the next MP for Tobago East is Mr. Watson Duke. What's your next order of business?
Well, my next order of business is to wait until the results for the West comes in. Mm-hmm. That's my concern.
Right.
The East is good.
Right.
But we want all of Tobago. So I'll wait with bated breath. Mm-hmm. And I'll count the votes as they come in. And when I hear Tobago West is now PDP, I'll jump and I'll shout with a power salute. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, Tobago will be free at last. Mm-hmm. That's my next move. Mm-hmm. Tobago as an entire unit, not as a part. Tobago must be Tobago in Trinidad, not divisive. One Tobago under the PDP.
Right. And let's say things don't work out that way. So let's say for Tobago, whether it's East or West, so one part of the electorate has said, yes, we want the person from PDP represent us. And then there's another individual from a different organization or political group representing the other part of the island. How do you see that relationship now coming together to work for the best for Tobago?
That is an unpredictable relationship, I must say that to you. Because we have two major parties.
Right.
We have the PNM
right.
wearing their red cloak, and we have the UNC wearing a blue cloak. If you look at them, they're interchanging their colors now, blue and yellow. Yeah, and that's a dangerous situation.
Why are you aligning? Why is it? And I shouldn't say you, because it's not only you who does that. Why is it that? And it's not just even with the current. With the TPP, who is now fighting at general elections, but even in the past, you know, there always seems to be, whether it's coming from the home of the PNM to align, because even, you know, Mr. Sandy, who is now dead, you know, would have aligned, and it always seems to be that strategy to align the other group with the opposition in Trinidad.
Well, there are two pieces of evidence I'm basing my thing on. One, with the opposition leader coming out and say that when we win, we'll be seeking to form an alliance with Father Augustine. Now, there are several political parties in Tobago. The IDA, the Patriotic Front, they are there. We have the PNM, we have the PDP, and we have the Unity, something like Unity. There's so much different people here.
Right.
Even independent Leroy George.
Right.
She never spoke of any of them, but she spoke with confidence of that alliance. And that to me is very interesting. The opposition leader is saying, you know, form an alliance with them.
Right.
But what's more interesting is an audio tape that people who are regarded as world-renowned AI specialists would have run through several machines, and those machines' names have been given, not just vibes now. And they're saying this AI is like 98% real. well, not AI, this tape, rather, audio tape, is 98% real.
Thank you, viewers, for staying with us. We had a little technical glitch there, and you didn't hear me correct myself because I referred to Mr. Sandy as the late Mr. Sandy. But that is incorrect, and I must apologize to him and, of course, his family and friends because I was thinking of someone else at that time. So I do apologize for that slip. My thoughts went in a different direction. All right, so we are back, and thank you for staying with us. We continue to talk to Mr. Watson Duke. He has offered, that's the right word, he has offered himself to be the member of parliament for Tobago East. And every time we talk about the East, they say great things come from the East, right? You always hear that. I hear people from the East are always proud to talk about their villages and what they do and their history. And we have a man who believes he is the best for Tobago East. And we were now getting into Mr. Duke, you being the best person, speaking about your track record, allowing people to examine the evidence for themselves. And we're talking about Tobago's representation in terms of the dynamics between relationships. I would have asked, how do you see yourself fitting in if the PDP wins one area and there's another political entity who was selected or voted to represent the other parts of the island?
Right. I think the question you had asked, to say,
yes,
would have been what evidence I have for the relationship between the UNC and
right, but you went into that direction because when I asked, and our viewers unfortunately did not get to hear that part, you know, in terms of you were talking about being the best, and you would, what was next for you after election would be election evening would be for you to wait to hear the West come in because you want PDP would take it by storm. So I then asked the follow-up question. Let's just say it doesn't work out that way, but we do have PDP on one end and another entity. You know, how does that relate, the dynamics? And you responded that you can't predict that. And then you went off into that. So let's continue along that.
Well, let me say it's very difficult for the progressive democratic patriots, and our ideas are very distinct and very elaborate from the other plural ideas being touted by the others. To work with even another party into is very difficult. It's very, very difficult. So once the seats are mixed, and I'm strong, right? What you want to have is a complete victory for the PDP, East and West. But God forbid, if He in His wisdom arranged it to be that particular way, then we have a plan that we wouldn't divulge now of how we're going to treat with it. So as to ensure, given that the given circumstances allow us to do the best that we can do in those circumstances for the people of Tobago.
And you went on, as you said, just before we froze to, I was asking you, why is it that over the years has the incumbent always been so quick to align a smaller THA entity or a smaller THA, a smaller Tobago party with the opposition in Trinidad? Because it's not now. I know you were talking about the tape where a voice sounds like the political leader of the UNC, where a voice sounds like the political leader of the TPP. But this is not, this accusation has always existed, and I was saying it seems to be like a strategy. So where does it really end? Why does it seem for that large political group to always lump the others like that?
It may be politics, but in some cases there is reality to it. As I said, there's evidence, one where the UNC has aligned themselves with the Fali party, stating that once they win, they will make an arrangement, accommodation with that party. And secondly, the tape is out. The tape shows one that is stuttering and one that is talking in highs and lows, and there's a lot of emotion in the tape. That's something that AI cannot replicate. AI has not reached that level yet. You can read it, AI can. That's a natural tape. And what you will find is that the statements made by him is one that aligns itself with some contract of Tobago not being as prominent as he desires to be. Our view is that that type of a mixture reveals something about the man who is speaking on the tape. And let's say the man is him, all right? it says that somebody does not want Tobago contractors to do well. The contractors in Tobago have been crying out for not having large enough jobs in Tobago underneath him. They have been crying out for not being paid the monies owed by him. And we believe differently. In the PDP, we believe that all contractors in Tobago should be given contracts 100 million and under. That should be totally Tobago contractors. If they want, they can bring in a subcontractor from outside. But any contract 100 million under is for Tobago. That money must be spent here. We also believe too that when we go to Trinidad, we will strongly advocate that money be sent to Tobago with specific instructions, right? That must be used for the payment of all contractors, not just those involved in infrastructure, but also the school feeding contractors who have not been paid since January, and we almost the middle of the year. So we have to look after those persons, those contractors who have homes also, who are renting homes to the THA for the socially misplaced people or displaced people. They are owed for quite a long time. The groceries, they are owed for a very long time. People who are contracting services for the THA are having a difficulty with paying. And somehow, if we are to use the tape as a truthful tape, the person who's attributed to Friday Augustine simply saying that they want to be better than the Indians and the Syrian contractors, and is speaking about it as if that's a problem. Where I grew up in Tobago East, and certainly where Curtis Douglas grew up in Tobago West, I asked him, people have always told us, strive to be the best, strive to be the greatest.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be better than everybody else in Trinidad and Tobago. That's a mandate on which the PDP is built. And we encourage all Tobagonians to be the best that you can be.
How would you convince your electorate? And I know you say the evidence is there, and we don't have time to maybe get very specific and for me to say, well, okay, where's the evidence? But how can you assure your electorate, allow them to feel comfortable enough that when I elect Mr. Duke as my member of parliament for Tobago East, he will represent me in the best way? Because I said, and it's no secret, Mr. Duke, you are a colorful character. That's how I would describe you, and that's said with no disrespect. You're a strong person. You do things differently. You are quite frank in your opinions, and you say it as you see it. And some people may not appreciate that, and you may make people feel uncomfortable where you go. So how does someone who has the opportunity to vote for you now find that balance? Okay, I'm hearing him. I like what he's saying. I like what he's proposing. But sometimes his personality seems a bit too wild. Can he really conduct himself in Parliament in a way that I would feel proud when I see him and say, yes, that's my MP? How do you deal with that thought?
First of all, Watson Duke and Curtis Douglas, we are not everybody cup of tea.
Right.
Since the advent of color TV, people have put away the black and white.
All right.
Because some folks will love black and white. Life is a colorful thing. It makes life more appealing, more attractive. This is why I'm the only political party to rise out of the 2000 movement and have dominated an entire political landscape. Right? I am Watson Duke. When I step into a room, they know I am here. I'm colorful.
Right.
Life without color is boring. You can imagine if I'm seeing you, I would not be able to see your beauty if you were black and white.
You'll see it in black and white beauty?
No. I mean, black and white, if the shades is not there, you can't even tell the difference. So that's my gift, to be colorful. I'm glad you can say it.
Yeah.
It takes a trained eye to see it. The color that makes me enigmatic.
Yes.
Beautiful. We are taking that to the parliament, and because we are colorful, we'll have the eyes of the parliament on us. We have the eyes of the nation on us. They'll be watching us like a movie, on their toes, wonder what next.
What's next?
What he's going to say next. And that's how you get the ears of people. If people presume that they've seen you before, they take no interest in what you say. And that is what the others. You look at them, I've seen them before. They have done the same thing before. They don't appeal to me. That's the rest of the political parties in Tobago. Duke, wow, he's interesting. We love that wow factor. We bring that.
And I asked Mr. Douglas the same question, and I'll ask it to you. How has been your experience on the campaign trail for this general election so far?
I will say this: phenomenal, personally. To campaign without the luxury of money or any big brother or sister is something that is very wonderful, I would say. We have met a strong appeal from the people. They are glad to meet us. They still believe that we are plain and unencumbered with any political parties, and our message is very simple. It's a Tobago message. I'm expecting a resounding victory at the polls, not outside the polls. Everything you see now is outside the polls. A big truck, a big movement.
Right.
But I've been there, I've done that. I mean, I know about big crowds, I know about splash. But this one, we don't want our message, our Tobago must win message, to be confuffled with the theatrics of politics.
Right.
So we have separated it, and the result is awesome, which will be confirmed on Monday night.
And how do you feel about the reintroduction of the Sandals project in the Tobago conversation by central government?
Well, there's no reintroduction. There is a discussion, but there's no reintroduction. Sanders, they just wanted to find out if Tobago may welcome the idea of it. The idea of Sanders or any hotel coming to Tobago is always something to be welcomed by Tobago. But it is in the details we'll find the devil.
Right.
Yeah.
And that allow you, as we have to wrap up, I'll allow you, of course, to speak to our viewers directly. As I told all the candidates we had conversations with, there are people who are not too sure where they want to put that X on Monday, and they are listening to everybody at this time. So I will allow you to address the viewers, and you let them know why you are the choice for Tobago East.
Thank you so much. To the viewers of Tobago East and Tobago West, I'm Watson Solomon Duke, and I'm here to say to you that Curtis Douglas should accompany me, and I would like him to accompany me to the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago on October.
Your
April,
mind is racing.
April. I'm
Yes.
looking at the end of this thing.
Yes.
On April 29th, having voted
On April
for us.
28th.
Well, having voted for us
Yes.
on
Oh, right. So you're
28th,
talking about, yes,
on
got
29th,
you. Got you.
I wish for him to accompany me. I think
Yes.
we will be a very good team, and will reflect that the likes of Dr. Winston Murray and the Honorable Dr. Ian Robinson, we would be able to represent you all in a way that you will have never been represented. This is about Tobago and Tobago alone. Our interest is not national, it is Tobago. If by chance we have to form an alliance for some reason because of the numbers and trying to balance it, we will definitely put Tobago's business first. Tobago will no longer be a trailer. Tobago will be the big truck leading the trailer.
And we've heard it from Mr. Watson Duke and, of course, Mr. Curtis Douglas and Mr. Wade Crude, all representing their various political entities. And the decision, of course, is yours. And I always encourage us, let's listen to what's out there, who's out there. You examine the information, do your own research, because it's easy for anyone to say something. But we, the listeners, and we are the ones who have to put our X by that political symbol come Monday. Do your investigation, your questioning, talk to others, and use forums like this to know what's happening and to learn a little more about your candidate. So let's keep on following our candidates, the political parties. We even have Mr. George, who's an independent. Let's give everyone a fair chance. And of course, you make that decision and decide who you think is best to carry Tobago forward, because we all have to exist here. And I always say we are a beautiful people, and though around now we call it silly season and we get a little besides ourselves sometimes, we all have to live here after that election day. So thank you, Mr. Duke, for spending time with us. My pleasure. Always. And viewers, thank you for sitting and viewing Fight for West and East, Fight for We. And we continue this series tomorrow right here at 9 a.m.